And I'd also like to recognize President and CEO of First Day Foundation, Kevin Dinnan, who is joined by his wife, Becky Dinnan. I'd now like to recognize our event sponsors. Without their support, today's event could not happen. Our presenting sponsor is First Day Foundation. Our gold sponsors, New Star Energy LP and Valero. And we'd also recognize our bronze sponsors depicted on our slide behind me. Thank you to all our sponsors. We are joined for this great event by many elected officials. I'd like to highlight those that are joining us today and take a moment to recognize them. I'd ask that you hold your applause till after I've recognized the whole list. So this is a test. Let's see if we can do that. First and foremost, State Senator Donna Campbell. Also, right off the bat, we didn't hold our applause. Let's try it this time. We love them all. State Senator Jose Menendez. State Representative Liz Campos. State Representative Barbara Gervin Hawkins. State Representative Steve Allison. We're joined by several mayors. The Mayor of Live Oak, Mary Dennis. The Mayor of Universal City, John Williams. And the Mayor of Del Rio, Al Arreola, and Councilman Jesus Lopez Jr. from Del Rio. Bexar County Precinct 3 Commissioner Grant Moody. City Councilwoman, District 4, Dr. Adriana Rocha Garcia. And City Councilwoman from San Antonio, District 6, Melissa Cabello Haverda. Now we can do the collective clap. We will break for lunch now. Please enjoy your salads. They will be serving the rest of the lunch here very shortly, and we will reconvene in about 20 minutes to get started with what you all came for. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please continue to enjoy your lunch. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Kevin Dinnan, President and CEO of First Day Foundation. Kevin, thank you again for supporting today's event as the presenting sponsor. Kevin Dinnan is President and CEO of First Day Foundation, one of the largest philanthropic foundations in Texas. First Day Foundation not only provides grants to nonprofits, leading noble work in San Antonio, throughout Texas, and around the world, it also provides governance and support to a wide range of organizations that have positively impacted the lives of millions. Each time I see Kevin, I feel like I learn a new facet of the good that the organization they work with are leading. Whether it's emergency response for hurricanes, wildfires, COVID-19. In fact, their supported organization administered more than 110,000 COVID-19 monoclonal antibody infusions, more than any other entity in the world. Then there's the daily work they do with human trafficking survivors, homeless youth, adults with developmental disabilities, and more. You don't read their names in the headlines, but the organizations First Day Foundation supports are lifesavers. And without question, the good they do to make our city and community a better place to call home. We're thankful for First Day Foundation's friendship to the Chamber, their strong commitment to the belief that a rising tide lifts all boats. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Kevin Dinnan to the stage.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate your leadership to the Chamber. It is certainly a privilege today to introduce those that will be addressing us. I'd like to introduce some very distinguished guests. Of course, currently serving his third term as the Governor of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott continues to build on a very, very strong record as a conservative leader who fights to preserve Texas values and place values that he has that we all embrace to raise our families and build businesses and create greater opportunity for all. Governor Abbott, we thank you for being with us today very much. Jenny Saucedo Herrera is the CEO of Greater SATX, our regional economic partnership in San Antonio. Jenna and her team work closely with the Governor's Office and our regional business community to foster global business relationships that result in corporate relocations and expansions, as well as help local companies grow, primarily by building the local talent pipeline. Jenna, thank you very much for being here today and being on the panel. My friend Katie Harvey is the CEO of KGBT Texas Communications and is the 2023 board chair for the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. Katie's priorities as chairwoman of the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce include strong focus on the 88th legislative session and the San Antonio-Austin super region. Katie will be moderating today's discussion with Governor Abbott and Greater SATX CEO Jenna Saucedo Herrera. If you would, but before, one personal privilege on your table today is a pie. It happens to be my favorite pecan pie. And yesterday afternoon I had the wild idea with my staff, somebody make a run to Houston and get 55 pies to go in honor of Governor Abbott. Because the saying on that box is almost as good or better than the pie in the box, but it's pretty dang good pie. So if you'll have to fight, I hope you take those pies with you. Someone at your table, please take the pie with you. I cannot take them home because I will eat them all. But with that, if you would, please join me on the platform. Governor, Katie, Jenna.
Thank you, Kevin. Governor, thank you so much for joining us. Jenna, thanks for being up here with me. Well, first, congratulations on the state's 11th consecutive Governor's Cup. That is incredible. For those of you that may not be aware, it's for job growth and economic development, retention here in the state of Texas. So congratulations on that. And just my first question to you is how much do you feel as though economic incentives play a role in us continuing that trend?
So it plays a huge role, to be honest. But let's put this in context. There's not been any other state in the history of this entire program that's even won 11 Governor's Cups, let alone 11 in a row. I know that there are some, perhaps some college football fans here today. Maybe, maybe not. Some people, probably not very many college football fans from Alabama. But here's my point. If you look at all the national championships that Nick Saban has won at Alabama, Texas has won far more consecutive national championships for economic development than Nick Saban has won. We are unrivaled for economic national championships, and it's due in part to what all of our local chambers and economic development professionals do. They're the ones who percolate the projects that lead to the getting it to fruition, getting across the finish line, aided by the head of the governor's economic development team, Adriana Cruz, who's with us here today. Adriana, why don't you stand up? But let's be clear about your specific question. So even during the time when we have been ranked #1 for economic development projects, we have lost extraordinarily meaningful economic development projects to states like New York, which is maybe like the worst state in which to do business. We lost Micron to New York. And the reason is because New York had better economic incentives than did Texas. There have been very many other substantial economic opportunities that we had that we lost because even with Chapter 313, our economic incentives were only competitive, not superior to other states. And that's right, Donna. I'm looking at Donna Campbell. Texas doesn't like to lose. But we were losing some of the most important consequential projects we could get because other states were providing more. Without Chapter 313, and there are good reasons that Senator Campbell and I agree on, good reasons why 313 needed to be changed, but why we do need economic development programs going forward, because without them, other states that are better at business than New York, such as Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Arizona, Ohio, and others, will eat our lunch. Well, yes, we got our share of some microprocessors and semiconductors like Samsung. The Intel project went to Ohio, not to Texas, because Ohio had a better plan for it than did Texas. And so we have to remain competitive if we're going to remain #1. And to remain competitive and #1, we will have to have meaningful economic incentive programs coming out of this session.
Agreed. And to you, Jenna, I know your organization is hyper-focused on economic development, and from our regional perspective, how important are these incentives to us as a community?
Well, I don't think I can articulate it any more effectively than the governor just did, and I would say amen, sir, and thank you for your leadership there. What I will add is, just to talk holistically about economic development in the state of Texas, incentives certainly aren't the end-all be-all, right? I mean, we've got an incredible state to live and work in within the state of Texas. But if you put it in a perspective, we don't just want to compete. As the governor said, we want to win. And we've got to continue to improve to remain competitive. And if you think about even the Texas Enterprise Fund, which is our deal closing fund, thank you, sir, and thank you, Adriana, for your leadership there. Since inception, it has awarded less than $800 million. In fact, it's actually paid out less than that, right? Think about the billions of dollars that we're competing against. And so we are pushing and we are selling, but we have got to have real conversations about these incentive programs that will be effective. And I've been pleased with the governor's leadership and Speaker Phelan's announcements about House Bill 5. we're making progress, but we have more work to do.
Great. Thank you very much. So let's shift just a little bit to, again, talking about the corridor of San Antonio and Austin, but also expanding beyond that and our ability as a state to be able to move product and be able to move people. With the port in Corpus Christi growing, I believe, to the second largest port, goods coming into Laredo, it's critical. And what, from your perspective, do we need to be doing to ease that congestion and solve those problems moving forward?
The short answer is a lot. So understand this, and that is, you apparently know what's going on in Corpus Christi. I have no idea the extent to which other people in the room know what's going on in the greater Corpus Christi region, as well as Laredo. So first of all, Laredo, as many people here probably know, is the largest inland port in the world. And Dennis Nixon will tell you it's the largest port in the world. But we'll debate that later. For those who may not know what is happening and what will happen in the greater Corpus Christi region, it's going to be one of the leading LNG facilities or locations in the entire world. The demand for LNG is going to do nothing but increase. A lot of it's going to be going through Corpus Christi, where there will be more terminals built out, whether it be precisely in Nueces County or surrounding counties. And some of you may know about the Steel Dynamics facility that was put in San Patricio County. San Patricio County is going to grow very rapidly. All of it will be coming up 37 to San Antonio and through 35 to San Antonio. So San Antonio already is a choke point, and that choke point is just going to get more clogged as business continues to grow. And that would be true going north and south. And so what we need to do is we recently announced, I think it was last week, a $100 billion transportation infrastructure plan, which is the largest ever, that will go a long way toward relieving some of that congestion. It's going to take some time. That's some building, and so we need to couple that with some other strategies to make sure that we will be effective in routing traffic, these 18-wheelers as well as residents traffic, in ways that will continue to make San Antonio a very livable city, but also an even bigger economic center. And it's going to take investments. The good news is we are prepared for those investments. Infrastructure, as a term, has been identified by both the House and Senate as priority projects that we must deliver on. And we need to use the bounty of this record-breaking surplus we have. So not only does Texas have the largest budget surplus we've ever had, Texas has the largest budget surplus of any state in the United States of America. And we need to use part of that for what we've talked about before, and that is to cut your property taxes, but also use part of it for making investments that are strategic in things like infrastructure so that we can build a Texas for the next 1, 2, and 3, 4 decades.
That's right. Yes, as you said, I mean, with a $33 billion surplus, and it is a historic once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we have, these investments have to be smart, they have to be strategic, and appreciate so much your leadership on that. Jenna, just a quick question for you, too. I mean, obviously, DFW is a known, super region. And just getting with you and talking a little bit about the efforts between your organization in Austin and focus on an economic development priority of helping to make this a super region between San Antonio and Austin.
Well, that's right. I mean, San Antonio and Austin is already a mega region, right? Whether we believe it or not today, I certainly do. When companies or even airlines and others are contemplating investments, they're seeing us as a mega region, right? And we're leaning into it. And so with regards to mega regional partnership, we are prioritizing with Opportunity Austin alignment and connectivity. And the governor, and you hit so eloquently on the connectivity needs, right? We need to move people and we need to move goods, right? We've landed, you mentioned all the different semiconductor facilities, Samsung, we've landed, we've got Tesla, we've got Navistar, we've got Toyota. I mean, we have got to be able to move goods more freely. But beyond that, we also need to align more effectively, and that's what it's all about, right? Greater SATX and Opportunity Austin are in lockstep with our legislative session priorities, And you'll see us co-marketing, right? And you'll see us deal sharing in the future, and all of that will go a long way. I do have to call out our San Antonio regional partners. I think they're at table 12. I can't see anybody out there. Yes, there they are. They're waving. But we can't do what we do without our regional allies, in addition to our mega regional partners in Austin. So thank you. Thank you for your support, guys.
So the state of Texas is enjoying right now historic job growth. How do you feel, Governor, that job growth, and what can we do to ensure that protects us from recession?
Well, I'll give you the reports of a Federal Reserve official. So I visited recently with the Texas-based Federal Reserve official out of the Dallas Fed. And she said that Texas was far better positioned than any other state to be able to withstand any potential recession coming forward. Also, I saw in a San Antonio publication today a study that came out recently showing that Texas, in part because of San Antonio, likely would perhaps even avoid a recession. Here's what they said. They identified the top 10 cities in the United States that would continue to have positive GDP growth. And number 1 was Austin. Number 5, I think, was San Antonio, and number 7 was Dallas. And so we're well positioned because of our thriving economy to withstand the recession or potential recession far better than any other region. That said, we cannot just expect it to happen. We cannot rest on our laurels. We have to ensure that it does happen. And it goes back to what we talked about first. You can't win a game, whether you're San Antonio Spurs or a football team or whatever the case may be. You cannot win a game and think, okay, well, we can sit back and just relax. You got to play every single play, play every single game, and the same thing applies with regard to economic development and economic growth. We have to get up. That's why you have professionals like Jenna and others, yourself. Well, you wake up every day. What are we going to do today to make sure we bring in more jobs tomorrow? And because we have so many people who are so aggressive and effective at doing that, including Adriana Cruz, that also is why I think Texas will far better than many other states. If I could add one last thing, why Texas will do better, and that is our economy is far more diversified than the economies in most other locations. You may or may not have seen, California is in a massive deficit right now as opposed to a surplus because they're hinged so much to the tech economy. And the tech economy has taken a huge hit over the past year because of rising interest rates. In Texas, our economy is more diverse than almost any other state, including the fact that we do have oil and gas production and revenue in our state, and that's one thing that will help us weather potential economic downturns.
I think some of us may not even know this in the room. I didn't realize it until yesterday, actually, that just several years ago, we were the 8th largest global economy. The state of Texas was. I'm sorry, we started as the 11th and moved to 10th, and now we are the 9th largest global economy, and that's pretty shocking to
in the entire world.
In the entire world.
So people don't know this, but the Texas economy is larger than Canada, it's larger than Mexico, it's larger than Australia, it's larger than Russia. We surpassed Brazil when we went from 10th to 9th. Next in front of us is Italy, and during the next 4 years, Texas will surpass Italy in the size of our economy. The Texas economy is $2 trillion a year. And so it's massive.
It is massive. It is massive. So Jenna, talking about the job growth that we have here in the state of Texas and then bringing it again down to our region, what is Greater and what is SA Works doing to ensure that we have an educated workforce and a pipeline to fill those jobs that we're seeking to grow?
Well, workforce development is economic development, and we're all in that business. Everybody in this room is in that business. But Katie, we've worked with our employers around the region for the last few years to really get aligned around the target demand occupations that we're growing. Cybersecurity, as the governor knows so well, and manufacturing and biosciences and life sciences. And we've developed, talent development, retention and attraction programs. In fact, we launched our national advertising campaign for attracting workers into the market. But I think what really differentiates San Antonio is our alignment with our higher education organizations. And I'll just use UTSA as an example because I see Dr. Taylor Amy there. Think about the programs that they're scaling effectively in cyber, in data science, the only data science school in the state of Texas, and life sciences. I mean, the list goes on, right? And so that direct alignment is certainly helpful. But if you think about it, 92% of UTSA's graduates stay within the state of Texas. And I think that is the most pure form of economic and workforce development cohesion.
And Governor, what are your thoughts on how we retain this incredible workforce that we're building?
Well, she talked about part of it. Let me connect some additional dots that she laid out. So one thing that we're so proud about UTSA, and that is, when I became governor, I looked across the country and saw that Texas was ranked far below some other states with regard to Tier 1 research universities. And I made a commitment to ensure that we change that. And now Texas ranks at the top for the number of Tier 1 research universities. And one that was added since we instituted a program to accomplish that goal was UTSA, which is doing a fabulous job. But what Jenna was talking about is spot on in this regard. What employers are looking for are skilled employees who can serve their needs, and there's a wide array of that. If you want to cast a vision for what the future of, I think, San Antonio is going to look like, as well as Austin, and this is one way that you come together, but also relates to the workforce. Let me just quickly add a story that connects these dots. One project that we competed for a couple of years ago was the headquarter location for the command headquarters for the future of the United States Army. And what the United States Army does, their job is different than most everybody else's job here. Their job is not to make a profit. Their job is to preserve and perpetuate the United States of America. And what they wanted to do is prepare for battles in the future that are not going to be on the battlefields of the Middle East, not even on the battlefields of any location on Earth, but in space, in cyberspace, through things like artificial intelligence, as well as with robotics. And they could have gone anywhere in the entire country they wanted to, but they chose to headquarter their future command in downtown Austin, Texas, to be in part connected to that, but also to be within a 200-mile radius of skilled experts on this. They are connected and will grow increasingly connected to UTSA. And UTSA is going to be one of the leading, if not the leading, graduator and trainer and educator of people who are involved in the high demand area of cybersecurity. And then add to that robotics programs and AI. Anything y'all can do to bring more AI to this region will redound to your benefit for a long time. But we have to have a skilled workforce trained in those areas. But at the very same time, you want to have a very well diversified economy. And so while you're working on high-level sciences and engineering, you also want to have massive manufacturing capabilities. And you want to have skilled workforces in that regard. And some of that skilled workforce in those areas can come from our community colleges programs and TSTC and places like that. And we are working this session to work on new funding mechanisms or strategies for community colleges that will be more outcome-based. No longer are these colleges going to be paid for just having students be admitted and attend classes. They're going to be paid and rewarded for graduating students prepared to go into the marketplace. TSTC, for those who may not know, it stands for Texas State Technical College, but they do not get paid until one of their graduates gets a job. And that's a model that we're moving toward as it concerns our two-year colleges, getting people prepared for jobs. And one way we do that, and this is very important, the colleges, they listen to and collaborate with employers and say, what do you need? And then they shape a training program to fulfill the mission of that employer. And then I'll add one last thing, and that is, so to have a rounded, well-diversified economy, you got your manufacturing sector, your high-tech sector. There's another sector that's pretty prolific in San Antonio. I would call it the financial sector. You have USAA, you have Frost Bank and others, and you will have the opportunity to grow even more. And whether it be through UTSA or UT Austin or Texas A&M San Antonio, all kinds of college programs can prepare the workforce for those white-collar jobs that will be in high demand going forward. So I think you're well situated here in San Antonio. You just need to press on the accelerator.
I just have to insert, Katie, because I've had several times the privilege of traveling with the governor and Adriana. He didn't just prepare these remarks for today. This is his pitch on San Antonio. And if anybody has questioned, the governor's commitment or the state's commitment to San Antonio, I mean, that's it. I mean, I've seen him talk about our ability to compete in cyber and manufacturing and financial services, and I couldn't be more proud to have a chance to work with you, sir.
And if I could add to that, it's something that I forgot when I was talking about it. And one time when I was here most recently, about a month ago, was at the Boeing facility. And I know everybody here is either from or around San Antonio, and y'all know what's going on here. But I think that what is going on at Boeing is really underappreciated and maybe inadequately known. That actually could be your crown jewel of what you will become and what they're going to be doing out there. And that will be a centerpiece that will lead to incredible next generation jobs that will completely transform what San Antonio is, and definitely South San Antonio. And you're going to see a remarkable future occur in front of your very own eyes, just because of what Boeing is doing here.
Well, and I think it's one thing that makes this community different than a lot of communities across the state and across the nation, and that is we collaborate. As a business community, we know how to collaborate, we know how to roll up our sleeves and get things done, and to solve critical issues like workforce and education and how we make sure that we can fulfill those jobs and sustain the growth that we want to sustain. I want to shift just a little bit because you and I were talking about it at the table, and it's so timely. So one of the priorities of this San Antonio Chamber and this community is property tax relief. And there's some discussion in the House and in the Senate of different ways to approach property tax relief. Can you share a little bit about what your thoughts are on that?
Sure, I'll share it, and I want to cover a couple of different categories. There's property tax relief for homeowners and property tax relief for businesses. For the good news is we've started out with, there are three entities that provide a budget. The House, the Senate, and the governor each provide a budget. And in each of our proposed budgets, we've dedicated $15 billion to cut property taxes. Now we work on what the correct approach is to reduce those property taxes. And one way is through buying down and compressing what your school property tax bill is. The only way we can lower your school property tax, which as you know is the largest part of your property tax bill, is for the state to provide more money to schools, and hence the schools are raising fewer taxes. And we will continue to do that. Another thing is, in addition to property tax relief itself, I think we are all proposing a business personal property tax exemption for the first $100,000, and this particularly helps small businesses. There was another issue that came up, and that is appraisal reform. You know, one thing that I've heard countless times on the campaign trail, and as I talk to people across Texas, their appraisals are too high, and they want to see something done with regard to appraisal reform, and so that's another thing that will be looked at.
So any last thoughts, any last ideas that you would like to touch on, that you would like for us to hear from you as priority, or what you'd like to share with this community?
Well, one thing we are rightfully proud of and deserve to be proud of is the fact that Texas is the #1 economy in the United States. Texas, for example, far led any other state last year in the number of new jobs that we added. We added just in 1 year last year more than 650,000 new jobs. That doesn't happen just because we exist. At the same time that was happening, other states were losing jobs as well as losing population. There is a reason why people are moving here. People are moving to Texas more than any other state. When I was a kid growing up, we had 10 million people here in the state of Texas. We have more than 30 million people in Texas now. People want to come to Texas because of the type of environment that we promoted. But we got to recognize this. It does not just happen. It occurs because you have committed professionals like Jenna, Adriana, and so many others in this room. We need to not only maintain our commitment, but we need to keep our energy and our aggression, knowing that just like in every part of the business world or the sports world or whatever, there are competitors who want to unseat us in our lofty position. And as soon as we get lazy in our attitude about it, we will lose our position. And so we need to maintain our aggression, our focus, to make sure that we will be the leading economy in the United States. And when we do that, as I mentioned earlier, what's going to happen over the next 4 years, we are going to surpass Italy to be the 8th largest economy in the entire world.
I'm fired up. Well, Governor, and just like Jenna, I like to win. We like to win as a community, and we've got a great quarterback in your leadership. So thank you very much for all that you do, and thank you for your continued vision and leadership on behalf of all of us here in the room. Thank you.
Great job.
If I could ask Kevin to come join us up on stage for a quick picture. Governor, thank you so much. This was an incredible experience for all of us. We're really pleased with the leadership in the business community. Jenna, your partnership with Greater SATX is awesome. And we've got the best chair ever at the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce with Katie Harvey. So thank you, Katie. Kevin, please join us. We'll take a quick picture if that's okay.
You want me to grab the mic from you, sir?
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate you. So we're looking for a truck to carry all those pies.
He's going to deliver them personally.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin wasn't kidding about the pecan pies. Please do take them. The chamber staff will have issues if we have to eat all those pies, so we would encourage you to take them. The Good Company pecan pies, graciously donated by First Day Foundation. They are yours. We are adjourned. Thank you so much for joining us.